So you may have heard the 49ers play the Panthers in Charlotte on Sunday, and the 49ers are coming off a big win against the Rams. So we have our important question of the week. We answer it every Friday if the game is on Sunday, and that is, will the 49ers beat the Carolina Panthers? Well, spoiler alert here, 49ers are 6.5-point favorites. They definitely should beat the Panthers. They definitely can beat the Panthers, who are 1-3 and not very good and have one of the worst offenses in the NFL. But the question is, will they beat the Panthers? So let's go through some keys to this game, to a potential victory for the 49ers. Key number one, let Baker be Baker. And for that, I'm going to bring in my article supplement. Here it is, 49ers versus Panthers. Kyle Shanahan's as team's East Coast travel formula down. Within this piece on The Athletic, I have some Baker Mayfield stats, and we could scroll all the way down to him. You can see him right here. Why don't we make this bigger on the screen? Zoom on in if you can on those stats. DVOA for Baker Mayfield ranks number 31 in the league. There are 32 quarterbacks that qualify. EPA per play ranks number 32 in the league. There are 32 quarterbacks who qualify. Completion percentage above expectation and accuracy metric ranks number 31 in the league. There are 32 quarterbacks who qualify. Long story short, Baker Mayfield is not good. And if Baker Mayfield is not good, the 49ers can't let him be good. Now, people might say, well, what about the pass protection in Carolina? What about the supporting cast? Well, I will give you this. The receivers, their catch percentage hasn't been good. So Mayfield hasn't been helped all too much with the skill position arsenal near him, especially as far as throwing the ball downfield, because Christian McCaffrey is a good player. But the offensive line has actually been decent for Carolina. I would say middle tier to upper tier offensive line as far as pass protection goes. And this guy has still been terrible. So let Baker be Baker. He's not a good quarterback, right? Cleveland replaced him there with Deshaun Watson. He was healthier far sooner than Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason. Still took him a long time to get traded. Then Baker did get traded to the Carolina Panthers, where he had to win a quarterback competition with Sam Darnold. And guess what? Sam Darnold is not walking through that door to save the Carolina Panthers, because Sam Darnold is currently hurt. It's going to be a few more weeks before he's available. And even if Sam Darnold were able to walk through that door, I'm not so sure that he would save the Carolina Panthers. One more time, take a look at Baker Mayfield stats right there. It is not pretty, folks. I mean, those are either bottom ranks or second to last ranks in the entire National Football League for Baker Mayfield across the entire board. So let Baker be Baker. Let him throw a few pick sixes. Let him get sacked by Nick Bosa. We know that 49ers defense is really good so far on a historical pace, right? Maybe they could keep it up this week, because Carolina's offense ranks near the bottom of the league. Key number two, let's flip over to the other side of the football. Take advantage of Carolina's sketchy safety situation. Their best safety for the Panthers is Jeremy Chin. He seems to have suffered an injury very similar to Jimmy Ward's, severe hamstring strain, which means that there's obviously some tearing going on there. That is the definition of a strain, especially a severe one. Well, Jeremy Chin's on IR. Xavier Woods, the Panthers' other safety, might not play either. He also has a hamstring injury and is listed as questionable. So we might see two backup safeties for the Carolina Panthers in this game. So the 49ers need to capitalize on that with their offense. Now, against the Rams, the 49ers went pass to set up the run. Jimmy Garoppolo lined up in the shotgun early and often, and that pass game helped set up the run game for the 49ers. I think it's going to have to be more of the same in this one, because Carolina does have a little bit of a pass rush. And that takes me to key number three, block Brian Burns. He is one of the top 5 pressure getters so far in the league this year. Bosa's number 1 with 30. Number 2 is Micah Parsons from the Cowboys. And number 3 is Brian Burns for the Panthers. Same draft class as Nick Bosa, first round of that 2019 draft. 20 pressures on the season for Brian Burns. And if there is a highlight of this Carolina defense, which is actually decent, it is 53 coming around the edge. He lines up against both left tackle and right tackle. And as you know, the 49ers will be on their third string left tackle in this game. That's Jalen Moore, filling in for Trent Williams and Colton McKivitz, both of whom are hurt. So if the 49ers are going to taking advantage of key two, which is taking advantage of Carolina's sketchy safety situation. They need to block Brian Burns. They need to take out Carolina's most important pass rusher, and they may have to do it with their third string left tackle and Jalen Moore, since Burns lines up on both sides. McGlinchey's got to play well. Moore has to play well. And guess what? Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo can help the cause. They did help the cause against the Rams by scheming plays and then Garoppolo releasing passes quickly. 2.44 seconds average snap to release. We'll see what it is in this game. I don't think that Carolina's pass rush is as good as LA's, even minus Von Miller for LA, but they can get after the quarterback because they have Brian Burns on their team, and it's going to be important for the 49ers to neutralize that, because once you do that, then you could start talking about taking advantage of the situation downfield without Jeremy Chin, potentially without Xavier Woods, without those two safeties. But Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a little bit of time to do that, and the line has to deliver at some baseline level of competence. You just can't have a guy in your lap within 2 seconds if you're Jimmy Garoppolo in this game. And if he doesn't, then I think that he has something that he can capitalize on the back end. All right, up to key four. Be careful with J.C. Horn, okay? So you're looking at the safeties and the seams, and I think that this might be a game for George Kittle to really get going again. You know, I'll play a little video that I got today from the facility of George Kittle talking about getting going. But, you know, if you're talking seam routes, if you're talking about attacking the middle of the field, there's no better time to do it than against a team that doesn't have very good linebackers. A, that's Carolina. Luke Kuechly retired a little while ago. And B, doesn't have experience or good safety play. And both of their safeties, for sure their top safety, might be out of this game. So the J.C. Horn is a good corner, right? The 49ers faced a great corner in Pat Surtain II a couple weeks ago in Denver. He really blanketed Brandon Ayuk and company. They faced Jalen Ramsey, who's supposed to be a great corner last week, but they took him to school. I thought that Surtain looked a whole lot better than Ramsey. J.C. Horn is one of the bright spots of this Carolina defense, which, again, is slightly above average. They're not terrible. You have Brian Burns rushing from the edge. You have J.C. Horn playing cornerback on the other side. I'm not saying don't throw at J.C. Horn, but I'm saying be careful here. Horn has one pick this year. This is a guy who can take the football away. This is a guy against whom Brandon Ayuk, again, will have to prove that he can separate. Deebo Samuel will have to prove that he can separate. It all depends on formations, rotation, all that kind of good stuff. But the 49ers do need to be careful with J.C. Horn because he is one of the strengths of this Panthers defense. All right, key five, we're going to flip it back to the 49ers defensive side of the ball, right? So you have Panthers offense, 49ers defense. The 49ers defense is doing some really, really impressive stuff. Let's start with the general stuff here. By the way, Panthers DVOA profile, you see a whole lot more dark red than you do see blue. We'll take a look at that in a second. This is points per drive allowed on this 2022 season. The 49ers have allowed 0.88 points per drive. Number two, the Bengals, way down at 1.37. Everybody else is clustered here in the 1.4. So the 49ers defense, obviously, head and shoulders above the rest of the league so far. And one of the ways that they've ensured that they're currently sitting in that top perch ahead of the rest of the league is that they have stopped the run. Opponents are averaging 0.3 yards per contact. Again, only 0.3 yards per contact, before contact. Only 0.3 yards before contact per run. That's how good the 49ers have been on the interior. Eric Armstead won't play. He's out. He might actually go on IR because he's now hurt the other foot, not the one with plantar fasciitis. That's what we learned at the facility today. Javon Kinlaw out as well. Both of those guys probably out for at least the next two games, Carolina and Atlanta. We'll see if they can come back for the Chiefs game, but Armstead might be pushing it based on the potential IR prognosis here for him. But anyway, you don't have those two guys on the inside. Kevin Givens is playing really well. Kerry Hyder's playing really well. Hassan Ridgeway is playing really well. Maybe Akeem Spence is called up for this game. All four of those guys, at least three of them, are going to have to continue doing work on the inside of the formation. They're going to have to continue beating double teams. They're going to have to continue using their athleticism and their quickness to swim move by guards. They have to keep on plugging that interior so the 49ers earn the right to rush the passer. Again, this team has to earn the right to rush the passer. That is what stopping the run is all about. And Carolina, if you look at this breakdown, we're going to put this one back up on the screen. Go to the Carolina DVOA breakdown. Blue is good. Red is bad. So offense you have in the top third. Defense you have in the second third. Then you have special teams. Then you have overall. offense and pass offense is in the red. The overall offense and the pass offense, you see the Carolina Panthers ranking number 31 in the National Football League. But look, in the light blue, rushing offense, number 16, negative 4.4% DVOA. That's not actually bad for the run game. And that's because the Panthers have Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey is such a stud at Stanford, just up the road from Levi Stadium. The 49ers could have drafted him. They took Solomon Thomas instead. That ended up obviously not working out for them in 2017. But McCaffrey, I mean, he hasn't been healthy for more than 7 games since 2019. But in 2019, he was a 1,000 guy, 1,300 rushing, 1,005 receiving yards. This year, he is the Panthers' leading receiver as far as receptions go, and their leading rusher as far as yardage goes. He is a dependable player. He can give the 49ers some trouble. So the 49ers have to make sure they continue stuffing not only the runs that Christian McCaffrey, but also some of the plays that will act like runs if the 49ers are stopping runs. You need to stop the run in NFL to diffuse an opposing pass rush. Otherwise, opposing defensive linemen are just going to pin their ears back, and they're going to get after the quarterback with reckless abandon. We've seen the 49ers do this to so many teams. So that's why you have to run the football to take the steam out of that pass rush. If you can't do that, such as with the 49ers right now, they're giving up those 0.3 yards before contact per rush, then you try to replicate the run game with screen passes, short passes, the quick game, right? But that stuff is risky, as we saw last week when Matthew Stafford tried to go to the screen game with the Rams not running the ball. They had 8 rushing yards in the second half. He went to the screen one too many times. Talanoa Hufanga sniffed it out, and Talanoa Hufanga bolted the other way for a pick 6. So the 49ers, aside from stopping the standard run game, need to continue doing the stuff that they're doing so well and correctly on the back end. They need to snuff out the screen game. Dre Greenlaw, 15 tackles last week. Talanoa Hufanga, that pick 6. Mosley is being a man back there. Charvarius Ward, as good as advertised. And hey, maybe they get Jimmy Ward back this week, but everything starts with stopping the run. All right, a few notes. Again, Christian McCaffrey is Carolina's most reliable offensive weapon. So you got to be all over him. He's going to be the screen target. He's going to be the guy getting the carries out of the backfield. If you can take care of McCaffrey, you probably take care of the Panthers. Remember, though, that the Panthers are should be an extremely desperate team right now. Their coach is fighting for his job. Matt Rule is 11-26 in his 3rd year. We thought that maybe the Panthers would want to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo because this coaching staff needs to win this year. It seems that they're on their hot seat, right? So 1-3 start, offense not playing well. These guys, need a signature win bad. So there might be some desperation coming from Carolina, and that means the 49ers do need to be on their P's and Q's to begin this game. Now, one thing, the Panthers offense, so limited. You see here all that red in the offensive section, especially passing offense. They're not going to have Laviska Shenault, their biggest receiver. He is, 6'4" target. He's a guy that, can really come down with some jump balls, create some problems in one-on-one matchups, especially since the 49ers don't have a Richard Sherman-sized cornerback anymore. But Shenault is out, and Robbie Anderson, the other top receiver, he hasn't been good at all. He's been, in fact, terrible so far this season. So the 49ers, I think, are in a position that they can overwhelm this Carolina offense if they show up and play. And, one caveat to showing up and playing is they've got to be ready to take that cross-country flight. They're on it as we speak, and they have to be able to get on the road, pack from last week where they had an emotional win over the Rams, and they have to avoid the letdown against the Carolina Panthers. But if the 49ers do that, on paper, they are much, much, much better than this Panthers team, which is why they're 6.5 favorites even on the road. News from today, Eric Armstead might hit injured reserve. Plantar fasciitis in one foot. He hurt his other foot, and it's not plantar fasciitis against the Rams. There is a chance that Armstead goes on IR. If he does, he'll be out for the next 4 weeks. The 49ers will have to make that decision by tomorrow. You don't want to make it any later because then you lose another week, right? IR's minimum 4 weeks, and you don't want Armstead to have to be out 5 if that ends up being the case. A big question entering tomorrow is how will the 49ers integrate Jimmy Ward if he does return into their lineup? Jimmy Ward is probably, I think, going to get called up tomorrow. The 49ers currently have 52 out of 53 spots filled on their 53-man roster. There might be some machinations tomorrow afternoon, so keep your eyes open for all those. With all the machinations, I don't know if, some guys are going to go to IR and some more spots will open up, some practice squatters get promoted. We'll see how that all works out tomorrow. But one thing that might happen right now, because we're speaking just in the vacuum of right now, there is one open spot left. Jimmy Ward's practice window has opened. You have 3 weeks during the IR practice window to decide to activate somebody back to the 53-man roster where he starts taking up a spot. And Shanahan already told me today when I asked him that Jason Verrett would not be activated this week. They're going to slow play Jason Verrett. So it's going to be, at least another week before Verrett takes that one spot that he'll need to take on the 53. So that leaves Jimmy Ward as the possibility to take the spot today. And Ward was at practice today. He looks good. In fact, I saw him jump up and grab the rim, the basketball rim a couple weeks ago in the 49ers locker room with perfect vertical leap. So I think that Ward is fully healthy. Again, he's been back out of practice. Might the 49ers ease him in during game action? Of course. But to me, it seems that, you might as well activate him now if you've got that open roster spot. And that leads us to how will they integrate him if they do activate him? Because right now the 49ers have the number 1 and number 2 graded safeties in the league. Talanoa Hufanga and Tashawn Gibson Sr. are graded 1-2. Gibson is tied at number 2 with Minkah Fitzpatrick. So you obviously don't want to take either of these two guys off the football field, and you still would rather slow play Ward back into the mix just so he's not going from 0 to 100. And I think it's absolutely possible. I think that you can play 3 safety sets. That's how the 49ers integrated Talanoa Hufanga last year. It was Jimmy Ward, Jaquiski Tartt, Talanoa Hufanga, safety 3. So why don't you just do the same thing except have Jimmy Ward be your safety 3? And, you could play Jimmy Ward in natural positions for him. Hufanga is so versatile. He's been so good at the line, near the line of scrimmage, near the box, and in coverage this year that you can have him be a rover. D'Amico Ryans can have some fun with this schematically because Talanoa Hufanga is such an exciting player. So how will the 49ers integrate Jimmy Ward if he does return? I think they're going to do so creatively. If you go to the channel, watch some other videos, I asked Fred Warner about it. I did try to ask D'Amico about it. He is, staying mum. He's keeping his lips zipped up on this one. He does not want opposing offenses to have any hint of what the 49ers might do with Jimmy Ward. But you can just talk about an embarrassment of riches. I think the 49ers have one in this situation. Finally, we're going to return to the original question. Will the 49ers beat the Carolina Panthers? Here's the answer. Yes, they will. Now, tomorrow I'll come in with a score prediction. And if you want to see the score prediction a little bit earlier, you can check it out right here. I'm going to put it back up on the screen. This is 10 observations and predictions from Matt Barrows and me, 49ers against the Panthers. Go ahead and check the comment section right now. Chat section has the link to the article. I'll put it into the description and the comment section pinned up there as well. So yes, the 49ers will beat the Panthers. And the score prediction will be coming tomorrow. Guess what? It's Fleet Week in the city. That means the Blue Angels are flying over all the buildings. There's air shows every single day. There was one today. I missed today's, but I'm going to get to see tomorrow's because I'm still in town tomorrow. And I get to go up on the rooftop in North Beach tomorrow, see the Blue Angels roar overhead. And you better bet that there's going to be some content from the rooftop tomorrow. Maybe we even give the prediction from the rooftop tomorrow during Fleet Week. I think it will be a good day to do just that. So stay tuned for that prediction tomorrow. I don't think it's a mystery that the 49ers are going to win this game. I think they will, at least because of, just how much better they are than the Panthers. But anyway, summary, let Baker be Baker. He's been terrible this year. Number 32 or number 31 ranked quarterback out of 32. That's not good. Take advantage of Carolina's sketchy safety situation. No Jeremy Chin in there. He just went on IR. Make sure you block Brian Burns. And if you're the 49ers, you probably have to do that with your third string left tackle, at least some of the time, in Jalen Moore. Be careful with J.C. Horn. If you're throwing downfield, just keep in mind that the best component of this Carolina secondary is the cornerback, J.C. Horn. And, of course, keep stuffing the run. That's what unlocks everything for this 49ers defense. Don't forget about Christian McCaffrey. He went to college right up the road from Levi's, and he can be dangerous out on that football field. Don't forget to acknowledge that the Carolina Panthers might be desperate too. That's never an easy thing to play against, especially early in the game when there's a lot of energy. So if you're the 49ers, kind of want to quell that. I believe that the Panthers actually are opening the season too with 4 straight home games, which I've never heard of happening. This will be the final of those 4 straight home games. So they're 1-3. They, well, actually, they've already played 4 road games, or this is their 4th. So they didn't start with 4 straight. They played 1 on the road, but 4 of their first 5 games will have been at home. So they really need to get this one to just, get off of the hot seat, right? If you're Matt Rule. And I mean, you probably won't get him permanently off, but it'd buy him some more time. So 49ers going to play a hungry opponent. I would think they're a lot better than them talent-wise, but they do have to keep that in mind. No Laviska Shenault for the Carolina Panthers, and 49ers news, Eric Armstead might hit IR. Will the 49ers beat the Panthers? Yes, they will. Like the video, sub to the channel. We'll talk to you all very soon. Take care, guys.